Hey, well, welcome back to the Contractor Click podcast. My name is Emily. I am here with the rest of the Contractor Click team, and today we've got an incredible, exciting episode talking about some pretty interesting things. So, Maddie, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, today's going to be one of those podcasts that you're going to want to save for the rest of the year because it's going to pretty much take you through the rest of 2024 and help you navigate what 2024 is going to look like. So today we're going to talk about what to expect in quarter 3 and quarter 4 and how to navigate what's coming. It's going to be a big one.
Who's this for?
This is for any home improvement luxury contractor, home improvement contractor.
Interior, exterior.
Exterior. Right. Yep. If you're a contractor, this is for you.
Yeah. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the feelers out there in the industry?
I mean, I think based on just data, stuff that we've collected, KPIs, is that there's been a 30% decrease in close rates. So essentially our clients are struggling or having a harder time closing than they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to clarify and going deeper into that, because that could be very misleading. It's like, man, how do you go from 60% closing to 30%? It's not that. It's the sales are off by sales targets off by average of 30%. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay. Just to clarify that. Yeah. What inputs do you have on that? Like we're looking at the sales cycle and not just in a, hey, here you got 5 leads and how many you close type of deal. We're looking at the grand scheme of things in the company's on track, off track. And it's not everyone. We're going to clarify that.
Right.
It's not everyone. But just as a grand, if we were to add this up, we have some of the biggest home improvement contractors coming into Contractor Click now, knocking on our door. They listen to the podcast where we've been talking about like, hey, this is what you should be preparing for in 2024. And now we're here mid-year. Maddie, what are you seeing? What are you feeling from your end here?
I agree. Like what Louis was saying, I very much agree with that. But I think right now, this year, one of the things that really needs to be honed in on, and I need everybody, regardless of what you think your sales process looks like, I need everybody to completely and totally revise your sales process, revisit it, rework it, rethink it, and change it.
Agile.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Survival of the fittest. So
Absolutely.
Emily, what do you think is one of the critical components in the sales process right now?
Well, I think to Maddie's point, I like to say this a lot, even in just a leadership setting, but I often say to the people that I lead, I say, hey, we need you to just be fluid, not be flexible. Because when you're flexible, you still break. Right? There's still a point where something hurts or it's not good. But when you're fluid, you can kind of just go with the flow. And I think navigating the market that we're in right now, navigating the economy and the state of the economy that we're in right now, specifically speaking to the United States, it is an interesting time. And so we need to look at our sales process through a fluid lens and be adaptable to the things that come in. So one of the biggest pieces that we're seeing is the desire for the consumer to build an incredible rapport, respect, and trust with whoever their contractor is, right? And that's huge. So how can you, in your sales process, create credibility in such a way that adds so much value that they need to go with you?
Yes.
Right? There's no other option.
So what you're talking about has nothing to do with the product.
Correct.
So it has everything to do with the who, not the how or the what.
Right. Because we're going to separate that for a second. Okay. Yeah. We're not talking about the people that have a product that is, the cheapest, the easiest to come by, the people that are uninsured, that are just showing up and saying, hey, I can do this project for you for a couple $100 or $1,000 or whatever it might be. We're talking about the real true qualified leads and qualified contractors that are coming in with a product that is a little bit more premium or, a ton of experience and training. We were talking to someone the other day who said, man, I'm constantly doing training with my team. I'm constantly investing in them. So they are the best team that I can have, which is all incredible things. But none of that matters if you cannot get your foot in the door. And now more than ever, homeowners and businesses alike are holding on to their money and counting every penny.
Yep.
So how you approach them in the beginning of the sales process even and create that credibility, that relational equity with them is going to speak volumes to
Yes.
whether or not you end up closing the deal, whether it's now or 4 months from now.
Yeah, and so some of the fastest growing companies that are working with Contractor Click, we've seen it where they've been able to have record-breaking months in Q1, Q2. What do you seeing that's truly different in their sales process versus the rest of
the
contractors?
the relational equity that they're able to build with the homeowner is the biggest differentiator. I think that the clients that are seeing that success have been able to understand that if they are given the chance or the opportunity to be presented in a client's home to provide them with an estimate, the client already knows the product, the client is interested. But what can they do now as part of that sales process
good.
that's going to build value for that salesperson, business owner, and their company? And I'm a true believer that that's what's going to set them apart from
Right.
if this homeowner has gotten 3 or 4 different estimates from different companies,
Right.
how are they going to remember you versus the rest?
That's so
If
good.
you're differentiating yourself and you're providing them with a proper experience and building value in your personal brand, but also your company, that will be remembered by that client.
And that has a lot to do with relinquishing and releasing any ego.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
That's
You
good.
got to check your ego at the door.
100%.
The
Which is
closers that
hard.
had the highest sales closing ratios
Nope.
historically in the company, where does that go?
You know, I think that type of ego, that type of man, like I just got to make the sale. I got to push. People don't want to be pushed right now.
No.
No.
We've seen it over and over again, even on our side. And here at Contractor Click, we're actually not super big into like the sales process. We aren't really salesy people. If you've ever went through our process of trying to become part of our family and join our team and have us work with you and partner with you, we're not salesy about it. We're really upfront and honest. We're like, hey, this is who we are. We want to have a relational, or a type of relationship where we feel like we can trust each other,
Right.
where we're not going to tell you to be the best contractors. Please don't tell us how to be a good
Correct.
agency. You are more than welcome to give input, but that's kind of where we stand. I think over and over again, we see even that reflected and mirrored in the homeowner, right? And so the homeowner is going, hey, I just want you guys to listen to me.
That's
Just
a big
listen to
one.
me for a second. This is what I need done. Can you meet that need? And then how responsive are you going to be to that? Are you going to come in here with ego, huffing and puffing, kind of having attitude, saying things that are inappropriate, not being clean? One of the things I loved that someone recently said to us is they said, man, we're just a family-owned contracting business and we're clean.
That's fun. That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. My father, when he was, it's not even in the same. But one of the things that my father used to set him apart when he was growing up as a person who did home remodeling was that he would clean after himself and leave the house pristine. And
Yeah.
everybody would come back
Literally
to him
mop the
because he
floors
would
after.
mop the floors. He would make sure everything was
The red carpet.
perfectly clean before he moved on to the next. It's important.
And you know what? People
Huge.
will pay for that.
100%.
People will pay for experience.
And
People
they'll
will
keep coming back for that.
Yes, people will pay to feel heard, to feel cared, to feel like someone values and understands the value of their money. Because now more than ever, right, our money, our dollar, man, like we're having to stretch it so that it can go to groceries and this and that and the other thing. Doesn't matter what socioeconomic status you are in, people are feeling it.
Yeah.
We're
Yep.
talking to billionaires
yes.
that are feeling this.
Yes.
This is not like
Oh, yeah.
this is not exclusive to middle class. This is not exclusive to working class. Like everyone's feeling it. And so everyone values their money, how you go in there, how you approach it, your heart, your ego, all those things, they got to be aligned before you walk in that door. And please, please, please answer the phone like you have a referral on the other line.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. You don't know who's on the other line. The amount of times that we get we get lead forms or different things from people, and they reach out going, hey, I want more information from Contractor Click. And I do a lot of these calls. I give them a call and I just say, hey, my name's Emily, just wanted to introduce myself and see how potentially we could align. Saw that you had interest in our agency. Whether it was someone who was looking to partner with us or someone who was looking to even be employed by us, both sides.
Yes.
And the amount of times that we get people on the other line, they go, hello? And they're aggressive. They don't want to
You
talk
could
to
sense the
you.
person
Annoyed.
smoking on the other
They're
side.
annoyed.
And
They're
they're
annoyed.
triggered.
They're like, oh, this kills me too when people go, oh, I can't answer this right now. I'm in a meeting. And I think to myself, why are we answering calls in a meeting in the first place? Unless it's an emergency. But listen, this is real
Right.
stuff.
And if they're answering a call in a meeting because they think it's a lead, they're answering the phone like, hello, like annoyed.
Yeah.
So if you're answering the phone in a meeting because you think it's a future prospect, please answer the phone. Hello, this is so-and-so. How may I help you?
Well, and this is why these times are going to weed out you're going to be faced with a reality. Am I going to level up or am I going to be crushed in the process? So if you've been kind of riding this, what we call the COVID gold rush, Luis likes that term, and you've been doing quite well since 2021, 2020, and you are seeing things changing now for the first time, and you're in a different environment, and what used to be easy to close, now you've got to actually work for it. You got to look at the person in the mirror, and you've got to get your team bought into your core values. What do you stand for? What are the negotiables, non-negotiables? And you got to be willing to draw the line so that everyone in your organization is coming in across with the same intentionality. What does that mean? Is your installers or your contractors, whoever's foot in grounds, how you're showing up, your sales reps, individuals. Like, we're putting ego aside, and we're putting the mission and the vision, our crew values, the core values at the core and center of what we're doing here for the organization. That's got to be the mindset, because when you unify, number one, you're going to expose who's not really playing with you and your team. And every company needs to reassess, right? Every company needs to top grade right at this level. We're top grading constantly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just yesterday we had something right in front of our eyes. I mean, it's like, man, how could we just not realize this is happening in our world?
Right.
But that's what being willing to play at the highest possible
Yes.
levels and hold the line, that's what it means at the end of the day. So as a leader, I think this is the time for leaders to truly define where they want to go and if they really want it. And for those of you that are already playing at a higher level, we've covered some of the basics, like, hey, the great customer service, above and beyond experience, having the core values in the companies. Like, now it's time to reflect, what am I looking forward to in the next 6 months here? What are the realistics? I've got a multi-million-dollar business. Things are off track. What do we do now?
Right.
Which is the conversation I want to make sure we cover here today. I believe the amateur conversation to have here is always like, what's the cost per lead? Cost per lead goes out the window right now.
Yeah.
Right now,
And
exactly.
what I want to have you consider, I've said this since last year, 2023, every opportunity counts as 3. Every opportunity. And what did you start off with by saying? We're off by 30%.
Exactly.
So every opportunity that you have in front of you, it's your opportunity to delight and figure out what it's like to delight the person on the other side, right? And in a time and place where we want to automate everything and we want to be the extreme and like AI and this and that, I want to have you consider that also this is probably the best time to differentiate yourself by bringing the human element into the picture.
Yeah.
We've seen, I mean, one of our mentors, he's run, I don't know, $500 million worth of sales in home improvement. And the thing is, like, he was sharing yesterday on a call, he's like, this is the time where if you're a sales manager or you're the owner of the company and you have a salesperson out there, you as the owner should be reaching out to that prospect,
Yep.
following up on that salesperson experience, giving them some other incentives, or if it's not an incentive, some sort of experience, a selfie video to touch base, because now that creates something more
Right.
than just I just had someone come and give me a quote and an estimate. So
Correct.
so
And exactly,
yeah.
because you get to the quote and the estimate, the person's like, "No, I'm not interested." But then he has like 3 or 4 different like quotes and estimates, and then he gets a selfie video from the owner of the company, not the salesperson, the owner of the company, and he's like, "Whoa, these people care about me.
Yeah.
They care
What
about
do
my
we stand
product. They
for?
care about
Hey,
my
Yeah.
what are
home."
we here to do for you? Hey, I want to make sure. Hey, John just told me that he loved the fact that you're a
Correct.
Cowboys fan, and I was thinking about you, and just building that relationship with that prospect on the other side. On the other hand, I want to have you consider if someone's looking for home improvement, this is like the greatest opportunity time in my personal belief and what I see, because people are running away from pain and uncertainty. And what people are looking for is certainty. It's a place where they can come through and say, you know what? No one is going to, I was going to curse right now. No one is
Don't
going
curse.
to,
No.
Maddie's already, we got corporate in
Maddie
the
and
house
Emily,
today.
no thank you.
We got corporate in the house. I can't. They banned me from this podcast, Christian. But where I'm going with that is they're not going to screw me
Right.
over this 35, 50, $150,000 project. So people are more sensitive than ever, and they're looking for every reason. Like the
Yep.
buyer environment we're on is the lowest trust cycle of in the past, I don't know, 30, 40 years. So the trust that we have in the buyer's environment is very low. The trust, how much they trust you, what you say. Even you might be considering working with Contractor Click and partnering with us, and you're wondering where's these guys, right? Where are they falling apart? Where's the downside of working with these guys? So we're constantly just thinking right here. There's something operating, the crocodile brain. It's what it's called. It's constantly on alert. So where I'm going with that is, how is your experience creating that validation and trust throughout the entire cycle, the before, the during, and the after? So it's the perfect time in your sales experience to make someone feel like they are making the best decision in that specific point in time. Let me just give you one example. If I am a hardworking, maybe I'm married to a teacher myself, I am, give me a path, a career path.
A lawyer.
I'm a lawyer. I'm an attorney, right? I'm working hard all day long. I got 2 kids. I'm married to a teacher. That's my spouse. But I saw an ad for a concrete coating floor, garage floor, and I've got 3 estimates requests. I got 3 guys coming to me. You know what I want to be sold on? Is the fact that I'm working and fighting for my dreams and my family dreams all day long. I'm in the courts. I'm dealing with headaches all day long. I'm reading thousands and thousands of pages on a weekly basis. And I just want to have the peace of mind that I'm not going to get screwed over. And number
Yeah.
2, I'm going to, like, my money is going to be worth
Right.
what it's actually, it's going to be installed, and then it's going to be plus some more. So how do I create the scenario and the story from the moment I answered the phone to the moment my spouse reaches out to that contractor, how they make her feel, not me. So understanding the buyer and the environment, and then reverse engineering. This is something I learned from Dean Jackson, is when I create advertising campaigns, like this is why my I'm going to brag here. This is probably the first time I brag on the show. I always reverse engineer the entire thing. I put myself, and this is what my mentor taught me, Dean Jackson. He's like, you literally have to sit down and you have to see like a movie, and just spend hours until you get clarity on what that picture looks like. And then you reverse engineer that cycle from the marketing, the ads, everything we do, to make sure that campaign crushes it.
That's good.
And
Right.
just out of the gates, like my percentages, I don't know, it's like 90+% success in ad campaigns. It's not because I'm lucky or none of that stuff. It's just because I really do take
Right.
the time. And then I genuinely care about the individual on the other side. So from the fonts I use, the pictures I use, the copy I use, it speaks to that individual that I want to target. And this is why when we ask our clients for ads, videos, selfies,
Right.
assets, it's intentional. We're not just winging it.
Right.
We want to create that experience because that helps you out, so that when you show up at the door, that's the guy that they saw in the ad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So when you come at it from that perspective, now think about the premium luxury buyer. How And how do you need to show up? Are you just going to be the GC that's just a solo guy that's going to put it all together for them?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to be bringing the entire experience and make them feel like, hey, we got to do this now. So this is how you build urgencies, by making it so relevant to them right now, especially in times of uncertainty and chaos.
And really successful people, they look and they seek out all those different aspects and pieces of a business as well, right? So they're watching how you interact with your staff. They're watching how you answer the phone. They're watching how you handle conversations. They're watching how you respond to emails, how you text, all those different pieces. Because I know all four of us here at this table and everyone in our company, they do that. But so many people now more than ever are paying attention to those little details. And you might not think that it matters, but I guarantee you it does. I guarantee you people are paying attention to that. And what's always so funny is people go, well, like, it doesn't really matter how I answered the phone because I got the job. But I've worked in businesses prior to this as well. And it's so funny how the people never bring up those issues until something triggers them. And then all of a sudden they bring it up. Meaning, say you answered the phone poorly, you still booked the job, you do the job, and one little thing about the job is off. If they go and leave you a review, they're probably going to talk about you answering the phone poorly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
So it's not an issue until it's an issue,
exactly.
right? So it's like, how are we combating those things and catching them? And we just had this conversation yesterday. How are we catching those red flags and catching those things even within our own business before they become an issue?
Yeah.
And that's what this next 6 months is going to require for every single person.
Yes.
Evaluating your sales process, looking into all these
The
different
marketing
pieces,
process.
your marketing
The
process,
content that you're putting out there, intentionality.
your content, the verbiage you use.
Exactly.
How are you presenting yourself? Are there things on your social media that could be considered offensive? Your choice.
That's
your
interesting.
choice. How you want
That is very interesting.
totally
Yeah.
your choice
Bring
on
it
how
up.
you want to present that. I know personally we are more of a female dominant, female led company.
We are.
Female owned,
Not
female
more.
led.
We are definitely
are
a female
Guys,
owned,
own it.
female led
led
company. Yes.
So we were looking at someone who reached out to us and said, hey, I want to partner with you guys. I think this would be, an incredible partnership. You have great reviews. You're transparent. You're honest, blah, 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 right? They're super interested in that. We do our research as well. So we go on their social media. We check. They have a bunch of derogatory things about women on their social media. We're not going to take them on as a
Not
client.
going to take them on.
We're not going to take them on.
We're not.
No.
Because you have females that are leading the company. So your choice, totally your choice on how you want to lead and brand your business and what type of brand voice you want your business to have. But if I could encourage you, if you could set your ego aside for a second, if you could put all that to the side for a second, if I could encourage you for a moment, do not discredit 50% of your population. You're already in a hard market. You're already in a hard economy. Don't discredit 50% of your population because it's probably going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be comfortable.
This is going to be
And that 50% is the one that's buying. It
And I
is.
had on the flip side, we had a great conversation with someone yesterday who said, "Man, like I'm actually, they were kind of excited that there was females on the team because they want to have specific ads that they run for females because some of the things that they do."
Yeah, it's a partnership, but
It's a
if
partnership.
if you really think about it, like it's the wife that's like, "Hey, husband, we need a new kitchen." Like I would love to have a coating in my garage because it would look really nice when I'm working out.
A closet.
I need my closet much prettier than yours before you get yours pretty. It's true. It's 100% true. Like we are the ones that are coming up with the ideas of what we need to do in our home and how we need to make
which
it better.
means we need to target the female.
Correct.
We just
Yes,
need
need
to
to
be
come up-
aware,
yes.
whether it's female, whether whoever it is, you as a business and as a brand need to be aware of the things that you're
And
communicating.
guess who men want to impress? Luis?
Of course.
Females.
Females. It always comes down to the females, gentlemen.
It's a
Like,
partnership.
get it
but
together.
it-
Like,
it's a
seriously,
partnership. Yeah.
stop playing it small. And I'm gonna go to the extent of calling you into action if you have not yet taken photographs. I mean, it just hurts for us to see because we literally have to pull teeth. Like, I have to ask Luis, get me a wrench and let me
Yeah.
pull one here because the client doesn't want to invest in getting a team photograph or the specific, it just makes an incredible difference. Someone going to your about page and having your team and yourself,
yeah.
and, the director and the mark. And it's all of it makes a difference.
And I would encourage you in the next 6 months, if you have any margin to hire new staff, I would actually encourage you, like, man, find a young college female, or it could be a male, but naturally, females are just a little bit more active on social media these days. But find a young college female or intern that you have, whether it's someone that you have personal relationship with or a family member or a friend, whatever it might be, and bring them along in the process. Some of these contractors and businesses, the reason that they're thriving is because they've decided, hey, I know that I'm not good at taking the photos or taking the TikTok videos
Yeah.
or whatever
Social
it is.
media.
I'm just going to bring on someone part-time to do this for me. Man, I saw a Chrysler, I don't even know where they're based out of, but there's a Chrysler dealership. It's in like the middle of nowhere. Maybe not the middle of nowhere, but to me, we live in South Florida, so anything that has like a population less than a million is like the middle of nowhere for us because we live in South Florida. But they're in some smaller southern town, and they've exploded on social media because they took a risk on a younger, fresh out of college educated female, and she is incredible. She's genius with her marketing. Now, she's not doing lead gen for them. She's not doing any of those pieces. So you still need an agency to do those pieces. But she's bringing so much value in a different area. And man, I was just encouraged when I saw that, because I thought to myself, there are probably a lot of people out there that are thinking like, I don't know if this person has the experience or whatever it might be. But if you're in any type of sales specifically, those types of people, if you can, we're about to
Exactly.
hire one on.
Yeah,
Like-
and we had someone reach out to us yesterday
Yeah.
too, that they just hired some family young person to
Yeah.
like take over their social media. And yeah, absolutely. Regardless of how much you think, like, young people know social media than anyone else.
Better.
So
They
They
really
were born.
do.
They were born.
they're
with
born
it.
into it.
Yeah.
They're natives. That's a native. They're like natives in
So
the
if you're
language.
struggling with it,
Yes.
find a way to find someone, even if it's part-time, that you can bring in and say like, hey, I need your help capturing this content from a job site that we had or whatever it might be.
Creating stories.
Creating
Follow the crew
stories.
from
They're-
behind the scenes.
I mean, like I said, you don't even need this person full-time. Maybe you're a very large organization and you do need a person full-time, but for most of these contractors, you could get someone to come in and do this for you. And I would encourage you don't have to pay like an agency, right? Because we've talked about that. There's a
Yeah.
difference between like a content creation agency and a
No.
social and a marketing agency, right? So you still want to have your marketing agency, but you could just find someone where you say, hey, come in a couple times a week. We'll pay you a couple $100 and just capture us great content.
Yeah.
That would be huge.
and they would love
Be
it.
huge.
And
they
they
would
love
It's a
it.
win-win
that.
for everyone. So that's like, if you want to do it the right way, is integrate a team member, someone that you bring
Yes.
into your lunches, to your, company meetings. Like, they've got experience a little bit of that, and on a part-time basis, there's a lot of students that are looking for something flexible.
Exactly.
That's not
Yeah.
Starbucks. That's not
Right.
at having to drive out to be at a specific place. They can come to your office, and from there they
and they're
write.
creative
Man,
creative.
you
and
get
they're
a
appropriate. They know
Right.
what they're
One day,
doing.
so just check this out, because this is something I'm working for my personal brand. In one day, in 2 hours, you can shoot 60 pieces of content, short form. That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
that is nuts. Now, you got to get really good at that. It probably take you double, triple, maybe 4 times the amount of time. But the thing is, all this short form content that we're going to be bringing, and by the way, if you're not subscribed to the Contractor Click podcast, you're listening to this or watching, hit that subscribe button, because what we're going to be bringing to you guys from personal branding for yourself as the owner, luxury marketing, and everything that comes with it, We want to train you and equip you, the listener,
Yep.
to make sure you're navigating this season of 2024 and beyond in the best way possible. So make sure you follow us. But all of these things do add up in the grand scheme of
do.
things. So your personal brand, we've talked about taking that seriously, what you put out on social media. Look, I know this is a political year, and you might
Good,
feel
Danny.
triggered because of XYZ of what happened 2 years ago and the vaccines, and this guy said that and that guy said that. What matters right now is your business survival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that
good.
doesn't
And your
matter.
That's
livelihood.
good.
Priority.
Yep.
Yep.
So your life is on the line. Your company's livelihood is on the line. So don't let that emotional trigger get on the way of who you're going to vote for. It
That's
doesn't
so
matter at
good.
the end of the
You
day.
need to ask yourself, do you care more about like the value of your business and your brand and putting food on your family's table, or about your opinion being heard?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good.
You need to ask yourself
You
that
got to be a
question.
leader. You've
You
got
do.
to be. And you know what a leader does? Man, a leader sacrifices everything for the mission. And you lead by example, because if you're not leading by example, I mean, if you're just doing that for yourself, I can guarantee you inside of your company organization, you have everyone else kind of doing that too. And
when-
saying it's okay because he's doing it. Now I'm going to post. Now the
Yep.
sales guy's doing it. And then the homeowner checks out the sales guy that came through, gets offended by a post, and you lost the sale.
Right.
And then you're
Right.
whining why the leads are not closing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I don't care if you're in a slow
Don't get me
season
fired
or
up,
whatever
Louis.
it might be.
No, Sonny.
But when your business is slow, you get ready to grow. So
Yes.
hear that again. When your business is slow, you get ready to grow.
That's good.
Look into all the pieces. Look into your brand voice. Look into your website. Look into your social media. Clean things up. Go back on your personal pages. Find everyone who's in your leadership. Make sure things are cleaned up. Make sure things are tidy. Man, we live in a world where people can figure out anything about you. If you've wronged someone, please go and make it right.
Yeah.
Please go and make it right. When your business is slow, you got to get ready to grow. Because there's always, everything's cyclical. We've talked about this. There's always going to be a time of growth. But you got to ask yourself, in that slow season, are you going to drag your feet and be stale and just kind of, oh, well, it's our slow season,
It's a
so I'm going to go do
reinvention
this.
opportunity.
It's a time for reinvention. It's a time for rebranding. It's a time for restructure. Look at your staff. Look at all these pieces. That's how you're going to navigate these next 6 months,
That's
because
good.
it is going to slow down.
That's going to resonate based off of what you just said. If you are dragging your feet and being like, well, it's slow, and you have a crew or multiple crews that are looking at you, how do you feel they're going to take your business? Or how do you think the approach they're going to take in being an employee
Self-doubt.
for you?
They're talking, the installers, the crew members, they're talking.
Yeah.
And either you bring the energy of positivity, no matter what comes our way, guys, we're going to be together and we're going to ride this
Yeah.
wave and reinvest and invest in the team. This is look, and I've said this before, if you're not investing at least 30% more in your advertising,
Yep.
Yeah.
advertising. What's the difference between marketing and advertising?
Oh.
Marketing is the messaging,
Yeah.
what it stands for, the
Right.
values, the proposition that goes everywhere. The advertising is putting dollars behind impressions, ads, advertising. 30% more than you've had to last year, just to be willing to kind of do the same as you did
Yeah.
last year.
To do the
which in
same.
an inflation, it's actually making what? The same? More? You're making less just to make less. So if your profitability is not where it needs to be, this is the time
Yep.
to reinvent yourself, and there's nothing wrong with charging premium. There's absolutely nothing wrong. But this is the time where take a look at the books.
Right.
If your
Yeah.
advertising increased marketing cost is not it's looking too scary. So for example, if your marketing cost is at 20% versus last year was 7% and it's gotten that big, what if you were to just increase your ticket item? And now when you compare the marketing cost, increased marketing cost versus a new ticket price for yourself, you take on less clients, you end up making more money. I mean, the
Right.
math,
Yeah.
you
You
just got to
have
do
to
the
do
math.
that.
Gotta
Yeah.
do the
You
math.
have
Like
to
it
It's got to
doesn't
be
lie.
balanced. It's got to be balanced.
So
Yeah, you
when
have
you're
to.
screaming and you're whining about it, I mean, we see this with the smaller guys. So I'm preaching to the smaller guys right now. The bigger guys, you kind of understand this. And then if you're bigger, Look, advertising is the last thing that you cut out before you turn off the lights and call it quits.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the end of the story. Take it or leave it. It doesn't affect my life personally. It doesn't affect Maddie's life personally. We want you to do well. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, because it hurts me to see people struggle,
Right.
because either they've been misled that you just need to post once or you need to do this little hack. This is not the time for hacks, team. This is the time to truly level up your entire strategy. And that's what we bring here at Contractor Click that's different. We're not here to try to sign on 50 clients a month. That's not our world.
No.
We don't want
No.
that. That's not what we desire. We
No.
want amazing people that serves amazing
Yeah.
clients. And those amazing clients, when we look at it on 25, 2026, 2027, we're on the other side riding the uptrends here together in the right way. But realistic expectations, a minimum of 30% more in advertising. The other thing is, if you're running marketing and advertising like you used to, for example, Google Ads is changing, it's shifting. AI, the way search landscape, like I've said it before, another prediction is search will change by the end of 2024. And we've seen it happening already. It's already happening, which
Right.
means your cost per leads and impressions and all of that is going to be jacked up. It's going to be more. Facebook ads.
Yeah.
If we're structuring ad campaigns, just give us an example here so the listeners can hear some of the reality.
Forget even about the structuring and whatnot. I just 6 months ago, 1,600 impressions were like $25. Today, 1,600 impressions are like $50, $60.
And it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
It's
It's
different,
different for everyone, obviously, but like even in the areas where the impressions were less than before, they're all higher, period.
Right.
And I hate to break it, like you said, forget about cost per lead. I'm over the cost per lead, and this coming months, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
With the election stuff, I'm sorry, there's a lot of advertising and marketing during this time, so it's just gonna get worse.
Yes.
And the
And
holidays,
then the holidays,
right?
it's gonna get higher.
So
it's gonna get higher.
You can't and this isn't us saying, "Hey, stop your advertising."
No.
This is us saying you have to keep your advertising going, but you also have to, again, you have to know what season you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses are able to navigate hard seasons when they know what to focus on and where they're going. And the biggest issue that we run into, even having conversation after conversation after conversation, is that people don't know what their numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know what your numbers are, how do you know where
And
you're
it's
going?
interesting because we've seen the big difference. Like the top tier clients, they know their numbers.
Yep,
They're pretty much led.
100%.
There's no guessing in this game. Like we're just navigating this, and now we got to realign, and that's the game. That's the game you should be playing at, and
For
you should be
sure.
aiming for. The ones in the middle, towards like the ones that are kind of navigating uncertainty and struggles, it's most often than that is those that are like wishy-washy. Oh well, I'm booked out right now. Let me stop ads because we can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Don't-
big piece.
Which is another
Cut
one.
back my ad spend.
Talk
because
about
I have
that.
Too much. I'm too busy this month. Please cut back my ad spend.
I got 3 crews booked out for X amount of weeks. I need to cut back. Like,
Well, what about November and December?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you booked through November and December? Are you booked through like October? Are you booked through like
and it's different for
August?
everyone. It's for remodelers.
But we had a
right?
conversation. We had a conversation with someone, and I thought this was so wise. They said, "Man, like in this economy, I want to be booked out 6 to 8 months in advance."
Yeah.
And that was so intelligent because they know that if they book out 6 to 8 months in advance, the chances are that probably 20, 30% of those might cancel, might turn, whatever it might be. But that gives them margin and room. And so what we're seeing is these more medium-sized companies are going, "Oh, please stop my ads. This month's really busy for me." But
You're too small.
on the opposite,
you're
you're
too
too
gonna
small,
break.
or on the opposite, you don't understand your buyer, because we're telling you right now, please listen to us when we say this, whether you're with Contractor Click or a totally different agency,
Yes.
or you're not even in this niche, we're telling you this, even if you're not in home improvement niche. Your buyer is a long nurture right now.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't making quick decisions. They aren't making quick decisions in any area. I can guarantee that. You know, if you go shopping right now, people are taking their time even in something like a mall, oh, I'm gonna wait on that, think about it. I've heard that I was at the mall yesterday. I heard that over and over again from people, even just saying like, actually, can you put this, I'm gonna wait on it, I'm gonna think on it. So these clients are long nurture. So you can't expect that if you turn off your ad spend for a month and then you come back the next month and go, hey, I need 6 more jobs this month. You cannot expect that those clients are going to automatically be there. Why? Because people are holding tight to their money and it's a long nurture. So you need to create a relationship with them 3 to 6 months before you book that project.
Okay, and let me just say this. You are marketing to a buyer. This is an interesting thing. We do have another video here called the 7-11-4, which means a consumer typically consume 7 hours worth of content from someone, whether that is researching the product, the company, etc. 11 different touch points in 4 different places online. When you add it all up and you multiply it, someone doesn't need to see your ad. Like, this is not the process team. This is what most people think. I'm going to hire a marketing agency. They're going to run ads. I'm going to get leads and close. Doesn't happen. The buyer, what's happened, just to break it down, now we've extended and stretched out the buyer cycle, which that's what it is. Delayed gratification for these guys. But now, how many touch points and how many times are they seeing you to reaffirm the conversations and the decisions that they are about to make? How many times? So if you stop advertising like this is not working, etc., and here's the thing is there's so much money in the list that how you nurture it, how you communicate with them. And I mean, we made some mistakes sometimes where we blasted an entire, even sold clients list and send promotions, etc. People respond to that.
But they do
to
respond.
reactivations.
They do.
You know? Remember
They
that
do.
time we sent out a blast and it's
Yeah,
like to
and
the
I asked,
entire
I'm
even
like,
sold
I know.
customers?
And I was like, but are they, I'm like, but are they at least responding?
they
And
responded? They're like,
yeah, they
yeah.
are. They're responding
They
really well.
responded, but we got just a couple of guys from the past that want to, you know, whatever. But the thing I want to point out, and Emily, you can expand on this. It doesn't take 7 times for a consumer to build trust. Like
No.
that whole thing about like advertising someone needs to see you 7 times. That was created from back in the day. That
Yeah.
study was created from back in the day where this old movie theaters, right? They would put in these posters on the outside how many times someone needed to pass by before they committed to stop and actually go in and learn more about the movie. So it was an average of 7 times. That was back in the 20s, I think,
Right.
20s or 30s.
If you
So
think
that
about
study
it.
was from there. Google did another study recently in the last couple of years, which is for someone to make a decision on buying a flight ticket in an airline. How many times did they need to see an ad from that specific or just impressions from that specific company? Over 500 times. And that's an airline ticket. Think about your home improvement business, bigger ticket. It's a longer decision.
Right.
It's actually something that they're going to be seeing there. So the more creative you get from the front end, you spoke about the organic social, there's that place and time for that. The advertising, sending impressions, and this is no time to run a flat advertising lead gen campaign where you're just getting leads off of Facebook. This is not the time for that. We've got YouTube advertising. We've got an advanced Facebook advertising strategy, which, by the way, works. Just takes longer to kick in because you're building an audience, and you're building the rapport and the trust, and you're following up with those that are engaged with your content, which is the whole point. And then on the other side, now you have content that's strategically getting that individual to consume your content when they come through your sales cycle.
Right.
And now that's how we create this 500 plus touch points to the point that someone sees you driving up to give an estimate. You give them the estimate. Salesperson leaves the place. The homeowner goes over to their YouTube. They hop on your website. They see your ad. They go back to Facebook, Instagram. They see your ad. They continue to see you. And if you made them feel good about the experience, how do you think they're going to respond to the sales process as you follow up?
That's good. Yeah.
Please put it in the comments so I can hear you. All right.
But it's true.
Emily, anything else you want to add on that piece?
I would love to hear what Maddie.
No, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that that's 7 times a day. Like if you launch an ad in a person's feed, they're going to see it more than 7 times a day. Like they're going to see it 20, 30 times a day. That's what impressions
That's why
are.
we need more creatives. That's
So,
why we need more content. It's towards your own benefit and advantage. So that's where an advanced, and this is
Right.
what we call the complete contractor program. This is, again, this is exclusive. It's not for everyone. But if you want to run at the level that's going to keep you afloat and keep you moving forward, this is what you got to be doing. It can't be just a flat,
Correct.
hey, I'm going to hire a marketing agency. They know
you take
what,
care of it.
yeah, you
Right.
take care of it. No, it's more
It's
involved as well.
It is, and it's all those pieces, right? So it's a like we've talked about before. It's a high converting website. The it's the social media that's included actually in that program as well. It's the monthly blog posts. It's the SEO that's being done on the back end. It's the Facebook and the Google and all those other pieces. It's the CRM and the automation. So many people that work with CRM, they don't know how it works, or
It's a
they say
story.
like, oh, my marketing agency has CRM, but they don't do any automations. We've never done automations before. We've never done a retargeting. We've never sent it back out to old leads and said, hey, are you interested now? Or we're having a special or promotion or whatever it might be happening at that time. All those pieces, email marketing campaigns, we've talked about truck wraps, how you look, how you present yourself. It's all inclusive. Sometimes we run across a lot of contractors who think, well, I'm a contractor, right? I'm just a contractor, and they don't think of themselves as a brand.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage you to try to shift that mindset. You're a brand.
Yes.
Now more than ever, 2024 and beyond, more than ever, people aren't just contractors. They're not just service providers. They're not just, techs. You're a brand. So how you brand yourself in these next 6 months is going to be crucial, because the big brands that are staying true to their vision and how they drive and putting things into marketing, they're going to continue to be okay. And then they're going to make it out on the other side in a year and a half from now or whenever it is. They're going to be thriving, absolutely thriving. But the people that keep it as a small, just people-based, not really a brand, not structured out, wishy-washy here and there kind of thing, they're going to feel it the most,
Yes.
because people need that credibility.
And here's what I'm going to say is those of you that are ready to throw the towel, just throw the towel. Like what's about to happen in the next 7 months, 6 months is a good time. But I'm going to say get past even January of 2025, February of 2025 to be able to see the light. So this is going to be a tunnel. I mean, you've got to have a tunnel vision, and you might not see the light coming through, and you just got to be willing to plow through. But if what you've built right now so far isn't worthy of you putting in more time, energy, and resources, and look, there are some people that have just gotten in debts, they have lawsuits, they have this and that. You've got to have a real conversation with yourself, like truly a real conversation. And you've got to be committed to that vision. And as a leader, as a CEO, as the owner of your company, it's your duty, your obligation, responsibility to uphold that vision first for yourself before you delegate it over to your management team.
Yeah.
Because that's the reality. It's if you're not truly committed to that vision, man, you're going to look at your bank account. Before you know it, it's Christmas, and you're going to pause all marketing and advertising because now you want to buy your wife the Louis Vuitton purse, or you want to take your kids out to Disney. This is not, my mentor told me, and he told Maddie as well, this is not the time for vacations. Vacations got to be put aside. You've got to have the real hard conversations with your spouse to say, you know what, this is what we got to do. We got to reinvest in the business right now. This is the time where some of you are going to be reaching into your savings to just stay afloat. And whatever that means, it's got to be for you. But I'm sharing the information and the data and the facts that we're seeing on the back end to empower you so that you start thinking and making better decisions. As a CEO, you get paid for your thinking ability, your decision-making process. And let this be one of those that brings you a different level of perspective, because the reality is some are going to be crushing it. And the funny thing is, the ones that you're like, man, how did these guys just crush it? Well, they just committed to the process and just didn't make it painful for themselves. And then you have the other side. It's like, well, we've always been doing it this way, and this is what it is. Like you're saying, they're not fluid in this process, and you're gonna break at some point. You're gonna bend so much that the entire thing is just gonna feel awkward and not move forward. So this is
Right.
the time to also invest in your faith, the time that you spend with God and gaining direction and clarity. This is like the most critical time.
And it's huge because there will be people that you will look around, you will see, you will watch that you go, why are they, man, like they look like they're thriving. Because here's the reality, there will be companies that thrive in the next 6 months. There always
there are
is.
right now.
There always
Yeah.
there always is.
There always is.
And you'll look around and you'll go, how are they making it through? How are they thriving? It's because they're implementing hard things. They're making hard decisions. And ultimately, they're choosing to be adaptable to the season.
I would have you consider that they're not hard. They're just different.
They're different,
And
exactly.
that's what it is.
That's good, yeah.
You know, put your ego on the
Adaptable.
side, and what if we were to adapt and be lean and just run that with your team? Because I do believe in, look, my father was a contractor, hard-headed guy. Maddie, your dad, right? I love your dad. But also, man, set in their ways. They don't want to try things differently. They know better than everyone else. Like, truly, guys, this is not the time for that. But this is the time to get clear. Stay lean on the things that you shouldn't be wasting money or energy or resources on. Top grade your company. Make sure that everyone is aligned with your vision as you are driving your vision and your mission forward for your team. Those that are not driving that forward, even if they're top players, they're going to cost you a lot more.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you've got to be
that's
willing
good.
to release them.
Yeah.
And then, as we've shared before, at a minimum 30% more in advertising. That's for
good.
you. That's for yourself, for your company.
Yeah.
You don't have to invest with Contractor Click to run that extra 30%. That could be you running your ads. But I'm telling you, we have companies that are running $10 million plus companies, and they're coming to us and they're saying, "Hey, this is a hard year.
Right.
Like there's something going on, and we can't figure it out. We need your help." It's because the smaller guy, I can only imagine how this is just, it's like a tsunami. The bigger
Yeah.
guys always feel it first, and then the smaller guys, they don't even see it coming. Before you know it, man, you're flooded. So you got to be willing to just stay on top of it. And then last piece I want to bring you and leave you with, which is what we do here. It's having the real conversations of where we're at month in and month out. The clients at Contractor Click, historically speaking, we just, probably this year we might have had one or two that never rendered numbers. We're going checking in every month. Hey, where are you at in terms of revenue, ROI? They're too busy in the business to provide the data that we need to make sure that sales process and marketing campaigns are running accordingly, including the advertising spend and all of that, the projections, all of that.
Yep.
So this is the time where you got to look at your numbers on a monthly basis, end of the month. And the results that you're seeing at the end of the month, this month, it's actually what you probably invested 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So you can't look at your decisions based on like, hey, Luis, you ran July 1st to July 30. What was my ROI this month? No, because some of those opportunities will actually reflect in September, October, and even November, or maybe the next year. Yeah. That's the thing about advertising, that you got to quantify and calculate, not just in the immediate, but also in the next 3 months. And then August, I know we're not supposed to date the podcast here. I know I always get called out. Don't date the podcast. But I'm telling you, August 2024 is the month to keep an eye on, because that month is going to dictate how the rest of the year will pan out for all of us.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, you know that if it's been a dry month, it's probably going to be a very dry and interesting October, November, and possibly December, riding into January. It's probably going to hold. I don't know. Or maybe we just have the best thing. Interest rates go down all of a sudden and everyone's spending money back again. And let's pray for that to happen. But you got to be willing to double down,
Yeah.
quadruple down.
And if you don't know how you can double down or quadruple down, again, by looking at your numbers, having hard conversations. I like what you said, Danny, though. Every single employee right now, including yourself, needs to be at their max.
100%.
And if they're not at their max, then you need to figure out how to get them to their max, or you need to release them. That's a very hard conversation. If you were working in a different sector and whatever capacity that might seem extreme in this specific industry. And I think anything that involves sales or service, every single employee needs to be at their max, and that's hard. But I would encourage your employees. I would tell them that up front. I know we have on our Monday calls. I tell them, hey guys, this is going to be hard. These next 6-7 months are going to be hard. I just need you
More
to bear
work.
with us.
We need
More
to be
work.
at
More
our
work,
best.
more productivity. We need to see more productivity. We need more from you. We need you to level up so that there will be fruit a year and a half from now, and you will be rewarded for that. And if you're an honest and integrous person who carries that, you will get to reward your employees for that. You will get to take care of them. There will be a time of fruit that might come sooner rather than later. Who knows, right? But you have to have everyone at their max, and you have to ask people, if they're not at their max, what they can do to get to their max. And if they're breaking under the pressure, what's the reason behind that? And then you got to make those hard choices from there. It's not an easy decision. I don't like releasing people, but I do it because I have to. I probably have less emotion than some people here.
We got a hammer somewhere. Pass it to me, Christian, so we can give it to her. What's that hammer called?
A gavel?
Thor.
Oh,
Thor's
that's
hammer.
Thor's
We
hammer.
got Thor's
Am I
hammer.
Thor?
Emily is the Thor of HR. She's
Yes.
corporate HR.
But I'm not HR though. Maddie's HR.
I think
And that's why we're
Emily's,
good
yeah,
partners.
right.
Because Maddie's HR, and she's like, man, we can't make that decision yet. We got to like look at the facts. And I'm like,
No, we're okay. So here's the thing: is the decisions we make
I don't
today.
know.
The way we think about it is decisions we make today is where we're gonna be at next year.
Exactly.
We're not making decisions for now, and just getting the habit of doing
And
that.
there's a way you can do that in an
Yes.
honoring way, right? You don't
Right.
have to be, you can be someone who is kind and loving and gentle and supportive and still put your foot down and say like, I need to see this productivity, point blank. But people learn to respect that. People learn to respond to that, and people will actually desire to learn that from you. If you can learn that balance of how to be someone who genuinely cares about your employees and the people underneath you, but also someone who desires excellence and says like, hey, I'm going to call you out to excellence and you're going to come do this with me and we're going to be this together. Man, the growth and the potential and the opportunity there is unmatched, but it's hard. You have to make hard decisions in seasons
Right.
like this,
Yeah.
and it's not comfy. And if you have a hard time doing it,
Which means you got to
get
level
someone else
up.
on your team
You
who
gotta
has
do
it.
it.
You've got to
You gotta do
level
it.
up. You have no
Or you
choice.
have to do it.
You
Yeah.
just gotta do it.
You
If
have
it's hard,
no choice
you gotta
but
do
to
it.
level up.
You have to.
no
Right, Maddie?
choice but to level up.
100%. 100%. Hard things, you could do things afraid. You could do things that are hard that you don't think you could do. You just have to do it. You just have to do it, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's painful. You have to do it. Period.
And you learn. And you
learn
get better
from
every
that.
single time.
Of course.
You get better every single time.
100%.
So I think those are key pieces that are going to ultimately help you make decisions in these next 6 months, 7 months, like Danny was saying, of where your business is going, where your company is going. I would love to hear just a quick recap. Louis, what are you getting from this conversation?
I think that, we say double down so much, but it's very true. There's a reason why we say it. But I think doubling down, look at it from another perspective and don't just think about ad spend and investing money. Look at it as doubling down in your intentionality, in your people and your employees, how you want them to see you. And you being an intentional leader will result in having intentional employees. I think also the reality is that if you said it's, one lead now is the same as 3, how intentional are you being with every lead? Sometimes it's easy to lose focus and see that, wow, like this time last year I paid, half of this cost per lead. Why is it literally doubled right now? The reality is that if it's doubled, yes, but look at the situation that we're dealing with, but shift your focus and understand that if it's costing you that much more, be more intentional with that lead. If someone just picks up the phone and sounds like they're not having the great day and don't really want, your service or your product, your follow-up now has to be top notch.
Good. Yep.
What are the points that you have lost intentionality because you were so focused about taking care of all of the quick shifts that are coming, quick leads that are coming, and now that that's not the case, every single one needs to be treated like it's the only one you got that week. And
Right.
if you're not going into
That's
the
good.
rest of the
The
6
heart.
months with that type of intentionality, then it will be rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's so good. So, look, this is a time to rise. I personally love challenges. I mean, I'm a fixer by nature. I love the problem solving. I love that. I love when everything else is chaos, when everything doesn't make sense. I love to slow down, and that's just, it's a blessing and a curse too. Because I'm so passionate about solving problems that sometimes I tend to look at problems too much and not sit and enjoy and be still and be grateful for the things that are working. Like that's just me. That's, I'm wired that way. But which brings me to my point here. This is a time, halfway through the year, make your list of what you're grateful for because there's so many positive things in your business. And I know we bring a lot of energy. I personally bring a lot of intention and energy to this podcast here. But I want you to think about the things that have been working up to now. And God's grace is so good and abundant. And the fact that you're breathing right now, the fact that the problems that we have are actually not problems in the grand scheme of things. Like the things that we complain about in life, oftentimes when we look at the grand scheme of things, on the other side of the world, it's the end of the world for someone. Someone is dying, right? My father is with the Lord now. He's at home with the Lord right now. But I'm telling you, at the very last few days of his life, as he was barely he could speak, he had a brain cancer. He would have done whatever he could, and he said, "I would do whatever I could to be healed." And here we are complaining about things just getting more expensive, our closing rates going
Right.
down. So I just want to bring that perspective to you because now the problems that I face as a business owner, as a leader, they're so minute, man. On the other side, there's a missile going into someone's home and their child is just dying.
Yeah.
And here you are complaining about the cost per lead going up. Like, are you joking?
Yeah, double down.
So with that being said, I want you to, you see that perspective right now, that little shift right there. I want you to wake up to the reality like, hey, we're so blessed. I believe we are living in the best country in the world. Plain and simple. The opportunity to be an entrepreneur, to thrive, to have these problems. It's a blessing to solve problems. It's a blessing to be in this environment. And here's what I can guarantee you. If you learn how to navigate this season, man, there's so much blessings awaiting for you on the other side. So just navigate through it. Have the positive mindset. This is why I bring God to the conversation. I don't know how my team feels about that, but I love to bring God in the conversations because he's my North Star, man. When I get dialed in with God and I'm aligned, man, God's grace is so good and it's so abundant. Doesn't matter what comes my way. God is in my corner. God is trying to speak to me through this problem, through this situation. That's the lens I look at life and my business.
Yeah.
Man, I feel so empowered that when I'm fixing problems, like, yeah, do I lose my temper here and there? 100%. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm always looking towards, hey, where's it that we're going, where we're at? Let me be grateful in the process. Let me just receive what I need to receive, grow, and move forward. So just be like water, right? Like you just got to be fluid in the process of what God is trying to do in your life. And then get serious about your number. Be a good steward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And multiply your talents.
Yeah.
That's what I've got for you, Maddie.
That's great. No, that's great. That's very good. Everything you said was very good. It's time to double down. It's time to just fight the good fight. Proceed forward, mind on the prize, and keep moving forward. Period.
This is where most millionaires.
100%. This is
created.
this is the
2007,
exactly.
2008.
Yeah.
This is the
You look
spot,
back.
right? This
Yeah.
is the spot where you're either going to lose the battle or you're going to come
And I
out
think-
so victorious.
I think this is the warm up to 2025, but I don't want to freak you guys out here in this podcast. Emily, wrap it up for us.
Man, I love when we get to have conversations like this because I think it's healthy, it's raw, it's honest, it's who we are. And we genuinely desire to see people succeed. And so when we have these conversations, we hope that you can take something away from this, some tangible things that you can immediately start to implement in your business. Whether you're a home improvement contractor or just an entrepreneur and business owner, these are things that you can implement in your business today. The question is, do you have the discipline and the drive to do those things? That's ultimately what it comes down to. Do you have the discipline and the drive to make the decisions, to make the calls, to put in the extra work, to put aside the things of this world that you maybe desire at a moment like this, and to keep moving forward? Because the opportunity is now.
Yeah.
It's in this moment.
Yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift.
And like Maddie said, the victory, the fruit comes later. Do not be a microwave individual.
That's good.
Be like a slow cooked barbecue rib that you got on the smoker. Lewis is with me right now.
9 hours.
He's 9 hours, 10 hours,
Now
12
I know
hours,
what's for dinner.
24 hours, man.
Maddie.
Be on that side, be dialed in, and just know that there is fruit coming.
Yes.
How you approach this season is solely dependent on you. How your business does in this season is solely dependent on you. Don't be afraid of that. Do not run from that.
Yes.
Own that.
Yes.
Drive it. Run with it. And we're excited to see what comes. That's why we say we're excited. People think, man, you're crazy. No, I think this is the
I am
best
excited,
time of
man.
Contractor
I'm
Click
pumped.
for us, man.
I feel like right before we go into a CrossFit WOD, like, there's that level of energy. That's just me. I love that.
because
really
it's so
do.
much more fun to win a hard game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's
There
so
you
much
go.
more fun to win a hard game. But man, we're excited. We're ready to roll. If you could do us a favor, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you send it to your friends, your family, other people who need this encouragement and need to hear this information. We can't wait to see you on the next podcast. This is Contractor Click.